Hello and welcome to Verbling. I'm teacher Oakley, and for the next hour we are going to be talking about the Ielts listening test. Today's class will serve as an overview of the test. We'll talk about the format, the scoring, and also talk a lot about strategies and tips to help yourself in the IELTS listening tests, or for that matter, really any of the standardized listening tests. Today at this hour here on Verbling, we will be doing our overview class. I would also enjoy talking to other students about their IELTS experiences and their challenges with the listening. Tomorrow at the same hour, we're going to be doing some practice tests. So hopefully, if you're preparing for an IELTS test, you can come to both classes. That would be great. Okay, let me welcome Carolina to the class. Hi, Carolina. How are you?
Hello, teacher. I am good, and you?
I'm okay. I'm hanging in there. What time is it where you are?
1 a.m.
Oh, good morning. Goodness, it's late. I thought it was kind of late for you, isn't it? Okay.
I am interested in Ielts, so it's
Okay.
a good thing to take your class.
Okay. All right. Have you taken the IELTS test before, or you're still thinking about it? I forgot.
I did one time 2 months ago.
That's
Yeah.
all right. Okay. Well, after I talk for a little bit and talk about the real basics for anybody who's tuning in who hasn't experienced it at all, I will be asking you and everybody else about their experiences on the IELTS test and what they found challenging, and see if we can talk about that. So think about that for me, because I'll talk to you about it later. Okay, in the meantime, let me welcome Salwa. Hello, Salwa.
How are you today?
I'm fine. How are you?
Fine, thanks.
Great, glad to hear it. And I know you're preparing to take the test, so okay, I definitely want to talk to you about all of this a little bit later, and what your challenges are, especially. And okay, let me also welcome Rebecca. Hi, Rebecca.
Hello, good morning, how are you?
Hi, I'm fine. How are you doing?
I'm doing well, thank you for asking.
Great. Okay, now I'm going to talk a little bit, for those who are not familiar with the test, something that maybe you guys know, just kind of quickly lay out the format and the scoring and such. And then as we start to talk about strategies and tips, I really want to talk to all of you about what maybe best practices, study practices, challenges that you've encountered while preparing for the IELTS listening test. But first, some basics for those who may be unfamiliar. First of all, the IELTS exam consists of 4 parts: listening, reading, writing, speaking, and they go in that order. The test is administered in that order. Speaking could be before or could be after, but listening is first. And the listening, reading, and writing sections all come together. You take that section of the test all together. So listening is first. So it's very important. Well, first strategy tip, not really, but it's common sense, but it takes a lot of concentration and focus. Focus to take this exam. So I highly suggest, since it's likely, usually early in the morning, you start the test, 9 o'clock or something, normally. I highly suggest you get a great night's sleep. Have a breakfast because you need the energy for your mental focus. Make sure you've eaten and you're rested. That's strategy number one. Okay, the listening test is first. The format is quite simple, in brief. It is made up of 4 sections. There are 40 questions on the exam that you'll have to answer about the listening. Each section is 10 questions. You will actually be listening for 30 minutes. The audio you will be hearing lasts for 30 minutes. And then you will be given 10 minutes to transfer your answers from a workbook, which you have, onto an answer sheet. So you're in the beginning of the test, you're given your workbook and then your answer sheet. You use your workbook to scratch notes or, pick answers with your pencil during the test, and then you're given that 10 minutes to transfer your answers. One small tip in regards to transferring your answers: the first time I took the Ielts test, I left one answer blank. I still remember answer number 16, I believe. I left it blank, and the answer sheet has 2 rows of 20. So I wrote the answer for number 17 in number 16, and the answer for number 18 I wrote in the blank for number 17, and the answer for number 19. So even though I had those answers right, I had them wrong because they were in the wrong slot. They are very strict with the scoring, and that's something I definitely have to talk about, is the scoring and what is wrong and what is right. Okay, so you have 10 minutes to transfer your answers, which is plenty of time. Don't panic, don't rush it, just go about your business and make sure you stay in order while you're doing that. Okay, so the entire test is like 40 minutes. In other words, 30 minutes of actual listening, and you basically listen. You don't exactly listen straight through. There are breaks, which you should definitely use to your advantage. Okay, so what they do, the test begins, and they say you will now be given 1 minute to preview the information. So you can preview the information, questions 1 through 10. Definitely you want to do this. The other another major strategy is to try to be predictive. Always trying to be predicting what they're going to say, what the answer may be in the fill in the blank, what are the possibilities. This actually will help you to better hear and understand what they're talking about, attempting to be predictive as you go along. So this is really, really important, this preview time. And maybe later in the class, if we have a chance, we'll kind of look at what I'm talking about what you're thinking about when you're previewing, what exactly you can be doing. Okay. You listen to the first section, 10 questions. All right, then the narrator will say, all right, you now have 1 minute to review your answers. At this point, that is completely pointless. So although those are your instructions, I highly advise you not to do that. Instead, use that 1 minute to start previewing the next section. Then they will say, now you have 1 minute to preview questions 11 through 20. Well, you just gave yourself 2 minutes instead of 1 minute. It's kind of pointless to review because you're going to make notes, and maybe as you're taking the test, you'll have 2 4 answers, 4 possible answers. You can put a question mark next to 2 of them. Well, you can figure that out later. It doesn't. Once it's gone, and you can try to logic it out in the 10 minutes you're moving your answers to your answer sheet. It's really not going to help you with the listening to do the next section to be reviewing. So this is my advice. Don't at all. Immediately start previewing the next section. And so on to the end of the test, the end of the 40 questions. Okay, just a quick note on what you're going to be listening to, the 4 sections, briefly. The first section is a conversation, usually some kind of customer service, customer talking back and forth. Somebody needs something, they need to buy something, some sort of customer service discussion between 2 people. Largely, this section, you actually have to write down things like somebody's name, prices, dates, very specific information quite often. Not always. There could be other types of questions, but a lot of times it's very specific things, details you're listening for. Don't freak out if you miss it. Frequently, they will repeat it. For example, customer service. Okay, can I have your phone number? 905-362-9201. And then the customer service person will say, okay, so that's 905-231. Don't have a heart attack if you miss some detailed question, because occasionally they will repeat it within the listening section. Okay, section 2 is some type of social or it's some kind of deal where it's basically a monologue, but somebody is explaining the rules to the museum or the rules to the library, or maybe it's supposedly some kind of radio talk show where they're talking about healthy eating or getting enough sleep, or oftentimes it's something like an imaginary radio broadcast or something like that, or sometimes an orientation to the gym, something like that. But basically a monologue. This section often includes questions with like tables or flow charts, like, okay, it's an orientation to the gym. It will talk about the steps that you have to take to get started, signing up for classes or whatever. And so maybe there's a flow chart with those steps, things like that. Section 3 is usually oriented toward training, educational concepts. A lot of times it's a student, group of students, somebody giving a presentation. Very often it's something like that. And you basically have to listen for main ideas, supporting points. And finally, section 4 is generally, it's a monologue, it's a lecture, basically, usually a lecture. That's it on an academic topic. A lot of times this involves multiple choice and fill in the blanks and classification, being able to catch certain keywords. It's not some weird word you've never heard. They're keywords that are central to the discussion, usually, is what you're kind of looking for. Okay. Okay, now I'd like to get you guys involved a little bit by asking, now that I've given the basic format for anybody who's totally unfamiliar with the test, I'd like to talk to you guys a little bit about what difficulties you have, what strategies you have. Carolina, you were first in the class. So let's talk bad news first. The most difficult for you about IELTS listening?
I remember that I have to locate the name of the places in the map.
Mm-hmm.
So for me it was difficult because they don't say like normal instruction. So they makes reference that with the answer. For example, if I have to guess point A, so they continue speaking if I know what is the point A, but I don't know. So
Yep.
that part is it was too difficult for me.
I know exactly what you're talking about. Okay, this is the type of question where somebody's describing a place, and
Yeah,
you're presented in your workbook with a map of the place.
yeah.
Yes, you really hit the key there. If you miss where place A is,
Mm-hmm.
woohoo!
I
You're
get
going to
lost.
be
I got lost.
Yeah, you're going to be lost. Now, they will give reference points later, but they are very likely to say, oh, go to the right of A, which if you don't know the answer of what is A, then you don't know where you are on the map. So, and
Mm-hmm.
they may go 1, 2, 3, 4 answers referencing A to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
Then maybe the fifth question, they'll reference something else that is actually on the map so you can get back on track. Sometimes you can work your way backwards from that. Hopefully, that's obviously the best tactic is to, if you are previewing, again, taking your 2 minutes to preview, then you know, recognize the fact that they're going to say a map, so you need to be super focused right from the beginning because they might jump right into it. Here's another element of the listening test. Sometimes they jump right into the answers, like the first sentence. Other times they blah, 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 blah. They talk for a whole minute and never mention an answer. And just the time you start to look out the window, wham, 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 three answers come out
Yeah.
in the same sentence. So be aware of that. It's not like they give you an answer every 20 seconds. They don't do that. The answers come sporadically. There's not any for a minute and a half, and then 1, 2, 3, and then 10 seconds later 4, and then 45 seconds later 5, 6. You don't know when they're coming. So you have to be very focused. Try to get that A, but don't lose all hope if that happens with the map, because usually, in my experience, all the practices that I've done, later on that map, they're going to reference something that's there, that's labeled on the map, and you can kind of work your way backwards. Okay, if that's that. What you can try to do is draw notes on your map, like, if they start with A, so make a note like, okay, A is to the left of B, B is across from C, like this, kind of like this, like make yourself notes like this. You don't know where the heck they are, but use the back of the other piece of the worksheet or whatever on the side, wherever. That's what I would advise, because a lot of times they'll reference something. Oh, see, and then they'll reference something that's there, X, and they'll say, on the other side of X is D. So now you know what D is, you can work your way backwards.
Yeah.
Okay? And they pretty much always do that. They'll give you something in the future. So as long as you're staying focused and maybe make yourself a little map, you can usually go backwards and figure it out. Okay, that's my advice for that situation.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Salwa, how about you? Let's go around with difficulties first. What did you find particularly disturbing?
a multi-choice question. I don't have enough time to read all the answers, so I just quickly read the question, but the choices not enough time, so I feel confused which one will be the answer.
Okay. In both reading and listening, actually, there's a lot of similarities between reading and listening.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So the advice I'm about to give you is both for listening and reading. Really. Okay. What you really need to do in many cases is you need to do process of elimination. Okay. There'll be 4 answers. Ielts does this all the time. A, B, C, D. One answer, C, is completely stupid. Cross it off. The more things you can cross off and leave yourself less options, the easier it is. All right? If, they're speaking about butterflies and answer C is dinosaurs have bad breath, well, cross it off. Stop thinking about it. Now you have 3 things to think about. The other thing is you have to learn to recognize the false answers in IELTS. And there are false answers. False answers in IELTS will do a few different things. They will be exactly the opposite of the information. All right? That's one kind of false answer. Another kind of false answer, it will have a sentence with 2 clauses, and one clause will be exactly right, but the other clause not. So the half-right answer is something to be aware of, that they do it over and over again in reading and listening. So watch out for these false answers and just eliminate them. Another false answer, the stupid answer is the one that's not related at all. And another one that's exactly the opposite. Half right. Another one is they will do this. They will give you, and this is a tricky one. They'll give you an answer with a keyword from the listening or from the reading, but the keyword means something else in the answer than it did in the sentence. So, what's a word that has 2 meanings? Pick any one. Let's see. Okay. Jackknife. The simple word jackknife. In the listening or in the text and reading, it will talk about, oh, little boys always like to have a jackknife. That's a little knife. You pull out the knife and it has a fork. And okay. But in the answer, it will say little boys like to jackknife into the water. Jackknife is also a kind of a dive into the water. Same word, same keyword. It's very important. Totally different meaning. That's a tricky one that they like to pull on you. They like to do that one. Here's another one that they do consistently in reading and listening. Please be aware. Hello? Okay.
With you.
All right. That was weird. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Something strange just happened. I froze on my screen. Okay. Please be very, very wary of extreme language like always, never, adverbs that are extreme. The listening or the reading will say something like, sometimes lizards lay their eggs on dry land. Okay. But the answer will be, lizards always lay their eggs on dry land. Be very, very wary of words always, never, impossible, extreme words, adjectives and adverbs. When when the answer says seldom and the listening or the reading says often or frequently, then the answer is wrong. This is another trap answer. So anyway, multiple choice questions, a lot of the time you're just eliminating the terrible answers. Frequently, especially in listening, you will be able to eliminate C and D. You're stuck with A and B, but you don't know which one it is. Usually, it's a very good idea to go with the one that is more general in nature rather than one that's very specific. Often. Not always. That's if you're totally flipping a coin. Okay? All right. And basically, you have to learn strategies for each individual question type. But as an overall strategy, use process of elimination and eliminate the trap answers would be my advice. Okay?
Okay, also, the last section about academic, it sometimes became hard when it's a new topic. I don't know a lot of words they saying. I can't catch up with.
Okay, here's another strategy for listening. And by the way, if anybody here is preparing for the TOEFL test, the TOEFL has a lot of interactive exercises in speaking, writing, and of course listening. It is just as useful advice for the TOEFL as it is for IELTS. Okay, especially in Section 4, the academic section, but all through the exam. Especially in Section 4, it's a lecture. It's academic speaking, just like academic writing. You should be writing in your writing test, Part 2, exactly how they're speaking in Section 4. Okay. Really try to key in on and listen for transitionals, signal words and signal phrases. However, occasionally, and they tend to use a higher pitch when they speak a transitional word or phrase, when they're introducing one of the key points or examples, key reasons, or whatever they're doing. They tend to use a transitional, and they tend to they raise their pitch. It's natural. It's actually good English, and you should be doing it on the speaking test, and you should be writing these transitionals and signal phrases in the writing test. Listen for them, because often that's when they're going to say, even if you don't even know what the heck they're talking about, they're at least going to kind of announce their important information. Because I say this because the answers are going to be the important elements. The answers are going to be what the things are that are the key reasons, or what have you. So that may help you to at least pick out the keywords that kind of fit the sentence. A lot of times they're fill in the blank in Section 4, so it's tough if you're not familiar with the academic topic. It's tough because you don't really know the related words, right? One last thing, always guess. Don't leave anything blank. There's no marks off on this exam for a wrong answer is the same as a blank answer. It's no different, so you might as well guess. I assure you, okay, I took the IELTS test, I got a perfect 40 out of 40 in listening, but you know what? At least three of those answers, 3 or 4, I completely guessed. I just used logic, what would seem to be the most logical answer to me. I didn't hear it at all. I guessed. So don't be shy about guessing either. I hope you're lucky. Try to be lucky. Okay. Rebecca, have you ever taken... let me quickly welcome another student to the class. And my screen is frozen, so I can't see your name. Hello. Welcome to the class. Hello, new student. Hi.
Hello.
Hi, what's your
Hi.
name?
My name is Jensen.
Jensen? Okay. Hi, Jensen. Welcome to the class.
Hi.
Hi. I'll talk to you in just a minute. Let me talk to Rebecca for a minute. Rebecca, are you there?
Yes, I am, yes.
Okay. Have you ever, I can't remember. Sorry, I'm getting old. Have you ever taken the IELTS test?
No, this one.
Not this one.
I took one years ago, but I'm not preparing any test, so I just taking this class because I consider it interesting for me.
Okay.
So
That's,
it's the reason. It's not like the other guys here.
okay. Nevertheless, you listen to English. What is something that you find challenging about listening to English? Yeah.
New vocabulary every day, and the comprehension sometimes is difficult. So it's as much as can read, listen, it's good for my comprehension.
Uh-huh.
Could I say that?
Yes, sure. Absolutely. Okay. All right. Now that's a good answer. Well, there you go. I knew I'd get some kind of strategy anyway. And that strategy is practice.
I
You're
know,
listening.
that is the point every day. Try to listen, to speak, to talk, so it's the point to take classes.
Okay, so hang on. What do you listen to? What do you obviously verbally
Yes.
is one, but okay. What else? What other kind of
Radio,
practice?
radio.
Radio?
I'm trying, yes, every day, and TV, but I prefer radio because I don't like watching TV, just news, and I can stay all day watching news, So I'm listening to radio whilst I'm cooking, whilst I'm doing some stuff at home, So
Mm-hmm. Okay.
yeah.
All right. Well, there's some good advice. I might also radio's great. I might also advise any students if you want to practice listening, you might try TED Talks. Those are very good.
TED Talk, what is that?
TED Talks, just Google it. They're long talks and they're actually quite similar to part 4 of the IELTS test. I would write
Mm.
it, but I'm trying to write it, but I'm totally frozen. I don't know what's happened to my system here. Probably gonna have to reboot
Well,
between
but
classes.
I consider radio more natural. You can
Hmm.
hear different people with different accents, with different way of speaking. So I think that is a good practice as well for if I had to take a listen test. And
Okay,
for my well, imagine if I have to speak with someone. I need to understand that person, So
right. Okay. Anyway, also both BBC, if you write like BBC English or also
LBC,
VOA,
LBC is my channel.
yeah. If on the computer you search for BBC English or BBC English Learners or VOA, Voice of America English Learners, they have what they do is they like news. They give you some news, but then they give you like listening exercises after.
Okay, that is
So
good.
you check your comprehension. So that's another possible source.
Thank you.
Sure. One more question, Rebecca. Can you see me, or am I just
Yes, I
frozen?
can. Yes, I can, and properly. No any problem at all.
You can see me waving my hands. Okay.
Yes, you are waving your hands. Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Because
You're
my
welcome.
my screen is completely, totally locked up, frozen. So
It's a problem, it's an issue from your screen, not from us. So don't worry about us.
Okay. All right. Whoa, what happened? Oh, something. This feature is disabled. Well, that was weird. Oh, weird. Okay, for some reason they disabled the verbal chat. Why? Very odd. Oh, there it is again.
Verbal chat working.
I know, just weird things are happening to my computer. There, I'm back. All right, everything started again. Weird. Okay. Salwa, I am definitely going to get to your question regarding capital letters and the answer sheet. Definitely, before we finish, I promise. Okay, I don't. Where did Jensen go? He's gone now. My screen came back to life and Jensen disappeared, but now Tina's here. Hi, Tina.
Hey.
Hi. Welcome to the class.
Thank you.
We're talking about strategies for listening.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and in particular the Ielts listening exam. Tina, have you ever taken the Ielts listening exam, or are you
No.
studying for it? No.
No, I'm not actually. I was just, this class was running on, so I thought, okay, it's better to take it.
All right. Okay, so you don't have experience with listening exams in a standardized English test. Have you ever taken
No.
TOEFL or CAE, anything? No.
Okay. No.
Okay. Well, then that's okay. We can still talk generally. What challenges do you find when listening to English? What's difficult for you?
Specifically, I won't say I feel challenged in listening, but basically when I'm talking, like organizing more ideas, just to make sure what I'm telling is, sometimes I feel that, little bit, I need to be a little bit organized my ideas before speaking,
Mm-hmm.
That's what I feel it, but yeah, but I think I'm pretty okay with listening. That's what I feel, but you are here because you are the one who can tell me.
Well, no. Maybe you'll have to come back tomorrow. We'll do a little practice listening test. And then,
then
at the end of tomorrow's class at the same time, you can tell me how your listening skills are. Okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
Does make sense.
Today we're talking strategies for the test, so, I mean, bear with us.
Okay.
Okay. All right, we were talking about best practices with Rebecca and Tina here. I just want to, before I move on to some other material, want to see if Carolina or Salwa, Carolina first, do you have any best practices for studying listening or tips or strategies you'd like to share?
I am practicing in a website. It's a website especially for Ielts, so I am taking the same listening test, and I try to do the test like Ielts, and then if I got mistakes, I try to hear again the part for clarify my answer, and then the third time I read the script, because there are a lot of special words that change the meaning of the sentence. So it's the best way to learn more vocabulary. And another strategy that works for me, that is good for me, is that I read when the listening test is going, is I read the question that I expect and the next question, because the question, they are always in the same order, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If I got for example, the next question, I lose the first one. Do you understand?
Yeah. Yes. Yes, go in order. First of all, your first strategy is good. When you're starting out, if anybody's starting out studying for one of these exams, IELTS or TOEFL or what have you, take it easy on yourself. Don't jump right into the full test mode, really. Do it slow. Listen again, listen a third time, look at the transcript. Take it easier on yourself. Give yourself a chance. Don't do the reading test with the timer. Do it slowly and deliberately. Take 3 hours to do a reading test to make sure you get the answers right. So you know how to get the right answers first before you start to play beat the clock, which you will have to do on the real exam. It's all about beat the clock. But I think that's very good advice. Just Michael Jordan didn't start off just running up and jamming the basketball into the hoop. He went slowly, paced his steps, saw how far he'd have to go. You know, he walked through it.
And for
Before,
me, it is good for me to got a mistakes in that practicing
yeah,
because I got the correct answer with some strategies because that site told me some strategies for get the best answer.
yes, okay. And there are lots of IELTS websites, by
Online,
the way,
yeah.
lots and lots and lots. Okay, all right. That's very, very good advice there. Thank you. And Salwa, do you have any special tips or strategies you'd like to share, or
Yes.
practice strategies or strategies, test strategies? Go ahead. Sorry.
I put underline the keywords before the blank that I'm going to hear to pay attention to it, so I can hear what the blank will be. Also, I recognize every time what's wrong with what is the most things I make wrong, and try to pay attention to it. If I misspelling some words, I write it in a separate note so I can revise the most words I misspelled. I know this make counts in the exam. Um,
Yeah.
just yeah.
Okay, that is a very good one. When you're doing the preview part, again, I really urge you to never mind reviewing. Spend 2 minutes previewing. Anyway, that's a very good strategy. Carolina, you might like that one. Okay. The keywords, the important words like the subject nouns, for example, before a blank or before whatever the information is, the question you need. Underline those so you can listen. Keeping in mind, also, Salwa, they don't always use the exact word in the workbook that they use in the audio. So when you do that, that's very good. Underline the word, but then think, take 2 seconds to think, do I know any synonyms? Okay, the word is agriculture. Oh, maybe they'll say farming. Okay. Um, you, you don't even really need to write it down, but if you give it the time to think, all right, agriculture, okay, then they're going to talk about something else where I need to fill in the blank, agriculture, farming, okay. So they don't always use this. In fact, they frequently don't use the same keywords in the question that they use in the text. Same thing goes for reading as well. They frequently will use synonyms or synonym phrases. All right, so keep that in mind as you're doing that. I love that. That's a very good strategy, and yeah, I was going to bring that one up myself. That's a good one. Okay. Next thing, I would like to do a screen share here and talk to you about spelling and this and that. Okay, I just want to show you something here. Yes, spelling is important. Here are the brutal facts. Oh, another element that I nearly forgot. That's right, spelling is important. If it's misspelled, it's wrong. and that's it. They don't give you, even if it's obvious you know the answer, if you've misspelled it, it is a wrong answer. It is excessively important in both listening and reading to read the instructions for answering, because it may say, and be careful, it may say answer with no more than 2 words. Okay, that means you can use 2 words but not 3. If you answer with 3 words, even if the 2 words that you use are the right words, your answer is wrong. So you must be very careful about instructions. Sometimes it talks about numbers. Be careful. It can say 2 words and a number. It can say 2 words or a number. So again, if you wrote 2 words plus a number, your answer would be wrong. So be very, very careful about the word count of the answers, because if you have it wrong, your answer's wrong. Misspellings. Strangely enough, now this is one thing I really think is strange about IELTS. In listening and writing, when you write down an answer, and if you've misspelled it, then your answer is wrong. Strangely, you can have 3 or 4 misspellings in your writing and still get a perfect score. Is that fair? No, I don't think so. But hey, it is what it is. Notice in this example on the screen, the test taker wrote papers, crossed it out, and then wrote newspapers. Okay, fine. If you don't like an answer, don't waste time erasing it, just cross it out. And that goes for when you're taking the writing test as well. You don't have to waste time erasing things and then rewriting it. Just cross it, make a line through it. Don't waste any time. Okay, that's still fine. Another thing is there's many fill-in-the-blank exercises. Let's see. All right, the fill-in-the-blank is the boy brought 3 blank back to the school. Okay, the answer is books, 3 books. If you just wrote book without the S, your answer is considered wrong. Okay, he will be blank, and you write arriving as an answer 24, then you're right. If you write arrive, he will be arrive, you are wrong because you have messed up the verb tense. In other words, your answers have to be grammatically correct if you're doing fill in the blank, or they are
Sorry,
wrong.
teacher.
Yeah.
I have to fill the blank in pen or pencil, also in writing task, in pen or pencil.
Pencil.
All the answers?
Yeah. Yeah, pencil.
Okay.
Okay. Definitely pencil. The old handy dandy, ever reliable number 2 pencil. It's an English thing. Every English test you ever take in any English school or university, they want you to use a number 2 pencil. I don't know what it is, but there you have it. Salwa had asked earlier, let's look at answer 29 on this screen that I'm sharing with you. English lesson. Now, when you write the word English, it has to be a capital E. But the word lesson is not a capitalized word in and of itself. This is a correct answer. If you just wrote English lesson with a small e, this would be wrong. If you wrote English lesson with a large L, this would be wrong. All right?
Teacher, can I
Yeah.
write all in capital letters?
No. Do not do that. Heaven forbid. No. Oh my God. I had an IELTS I had an IELTS student. Now he came to me after he did this, but he wrote his essay, his IELTS writing essay, all in capital letters, and he couldn't understand why he got a 2. Ouch! Yeah. No, do not do that. Capitalization, proper capitalization in lowercase letters is very important. Okay, make sure you know how to do that in writing, when to capitalize and when not to capitalize letters. Very important. That reminds me, I should do a class in verbaling, right? I'm writing that down. Next week, I'll do a class in capitalization because it is very important. Okay, you see August down here with a capital A? Yeah, well, that's why. Okay, be very wary of the, not so much in listening, okay, but in reading they have the answers, where the answers, it's the headings question. You're basically giving a title to each paragraph. Be very wary because the numbers, which are the answers, are in Roman numerals. So you really have to write VII. If you write the number 7, the regular number 7, you are, guess what? Wrong. So if they say, okay, write numbers I through X as the answers, they really mean I through X. They really mean they want you to use Roman numerals. Be careful. Some of the true, false, not given, again, in writing, usually. Well, sometimes in listening. Sometimes they will give you different instructions. Write T if the answer is true, F, the letter F, capital letter F if it's false, or NG. Sometimes they will tell you to write the word. Okay, so if you don't follow the instructions, you are wrong. Again, those instructions are extremely important. Answer 19 here is wrong. $10.50. Dollars is misspelled, and we don't say $10.50 anyway. We don't write it that way, not with numbers, not with words. If you're going to write it with words, $10.50. If you're going to write it with numbers, it's 10.50 with a dollar sign in front of it. This is fine, 50 pounds. That's okay. By the way, symbols like pounds or dollar signs or ordinal numbers like 31st, the ST here, they don't count as anything. They don't count as words. Or here we have 28. Second, that's not considered a word. That's considered one number. Okay, so you don't have to worry about percentage signs. Don't worry about percentage signs or ordinal numbers or dollar signs or pound signs, whatever. Don't worry about that at all. They don't count as anything, really. One more point. Number 38. Notice it says theater. Notice that it has the British spelling of theater. If you would use the American spelling, which is ER at the end instead of RE, your answer's still right. But here's what's going to happen. If somewhere else, if somewhere else on this answer sheet there is another such word, I don't know, the word color, all right? British spell it C-O-L-O-U-R, and American spell it C-O-L-O-R. If somewhere else, if you can imagine, just pretend the answer for 34 is color, and I write it American style, what they will do is they will mark one of these wrong. Okay? You have to be consistent, and this goes for every part of the test, the listening answer sheet, reading answer sheet, writing. If you're not consistent, then one of them will be wrong. You have to stay in British English or American English, and that goes for other things, word uses, spelling, the little grammar differences. So, all right, make sure you're one way or the other. Okay, any other questions about? Yes.
But this is difficult because, for example, in my test, they asked me for right trouser and flat, and this is British English, and sometimes I write some words in American English, so
Okay, well, it depends. I mean, if they're looking for a specific word, and the word is flat, yeah, I know what you mean. Okay. Believe it or not, the way the test is designed, they generally try to avoid this problem.
mhm,
You really don't have to worry about it as far as different words like flat and apartment. Okay?
mhm.
It's really just the spelling where it can be tricky, but they try to design it so it never happens. If we look at these 50 answers, it never would have happened. Even if there is no other answer that you could be construed as being American as opposed to. So it's really not that big a deal.
Okay.
Don't worry
But
about it.
it's different. It's different. How can I say that? The person who qualified my test
Who
is the
scores it?
different. Is different. Yes, it's different person that the writing that the person who correct my writing.
Oh, will the person be different?
Yeah.
I don't think they will know if they're different or not different. Sorry if that didn't make sense. I don't think they would know. They're sitting there scoring 8,000 tests, and you're just a number. They don't see your name.
Ah, okay, okay, okay,
They would never know if they were or they weren't,
okay.
because it's all blind scoring. They don't know who you are or your name or anything. They have no idea.
Sorry, teacher. I wanted to ask about matching question.
About
Uh,
again? Sorry.
matching a question.
Matching. Yeah, matching.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I have a difficult when they give 1, 2, 3, 4, and A, B, C the sentence to match it with the while they talking. Any tip to solve it?
Okay. Look. Let's see here. Let's see if I can find an example. Just a second. Okay, it could take a second. First of all, the more stuff that you can, I know this isn't matching, but kind of matching. In the reading, where you have a headings question, as soon as you can eliminate an answer, as soon as you know one of the answers, scratch it off. The way our human brains function, the less options we have, the easier it becomes. Twice as easy with one less option. It becomes, again, twice as easy as that when you have one less option. If you start with 4 options and then it's only 2, suddenly with 2 answers it seems like, oh, it's a piece of cake. Something mental. I don't really know what it is, but it's definitely true. If you physically scratch it out with your pencil so you can't see it and it's not distracting you, suddenly it seems a lot easier. That seems like a very simplistic piece of advice, but I don't know. It works. Works for me. Okay. I know what you're saying. You're matching some things while they're speaking, right? It may be better. It may be better in such cases to write down notes rather than make the lines. Because if you make the wrong line, okay, let's take a look here. I got one. I got something to look at here. All right. So you're talking about this kind of silly thing here, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
But sometimes it became more difficult when it's a long sentence.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Or more information. You mean in here? Like this is. Yeah. Yeah. I hear you. Yes, it does. There's a couple of things here. Sometimes, okay. Sometimes it's a matter. Again, it can be process of elimination. Sometimes okay, maybe Johnson is 2 possible answers. And it's not always the easiest. It's not always, okay, Smith first, then Brown, then Jackson. You may be confused with what was Smith, right? Maybe you're not sure. You can't go 1, 2, 3, 4 all the time with these. So my strategy, here's what I do. I don't know. This is just my strategy. I make notes. So I write, Smith, A, C, question mark. Brown, maybe I didn't know at all. Jackson's definitely D. Johnson's definitely B. All right. If Johnson's B and Smith is either A or B, that means Smith is A. And I know this one's D and this one's E. That means Brown, which I didn't know at all, is either B or C. Okay? So I kind of go backwards and use process of elimination that way. Know what I know and eliminate the other answers. As soon as I know, if I know right off Smith is A, I'm going to cross this off with a pencil hard so I can't see it anymore. If I'm 100% sure, I'm going to just cross it off. Once I know, this seems a simplistic strategy, but crossing these things out makes suddenly you've got 2 answers and one, match makes it a lot easier to deal with. Okay, anyway, we'll have a lot more points and discussion about it tomorrow. Tomorrow we're going to actually try some practice. All right, so you guys can actually practice in class, and then we'll talk about it and strategies and such. Okay, so thank you very much, ladies, and I'll see you soon.